It's been very interesting because, well, I can talk about Nigerian women. Nigerian women are very resilient. And every day they wake up in spite of cultural, religious barriers, they still wake up and they still want to do better. They want to provide for themselves, for their families. They want to be stakeholders in nation building. And I think that's something to applaud. That there was a time in this country when it was okay for women to just stay at home. But now women are beginning to understand that that is not just okay anymore. I mean, outside of economic reasons, there is also the sense of self. Finding some sense of accomplishment, fulfillment, and just being a partner, in growth. It's remarkable that women would every day, rise up to this challenge and want to do better. So yes, I mean, you get to hear all sorts of stories. And when you as a woman, when you feel like you want to just give up and think, okay, maybe women are not, you hear all sorts of drama stories about women, and then you meet those women and then you hear their stories. I mean, it gives you, it's more like it resets your brain, and then you just tell yourself, okay, you know what, I need to push on. So yes. Okay, my name is Adiola Sulaiman. I currently work as the head of programs at ProShare Foundation. ProShare Foundation is a not-for-profit organization working in the financial literacy space. And what we do is we empower people with innovative tools to make, manage, multiply, and protect their wealth. And we have come to understand that it is not enough for people to make money, to learn how to make money. Yes, that's the narrative out there. Artists are singing about it. I mean, make money or die trying, So yes, there is a whole lot of focus on making money. But statistics has shown us that in the blink of an eye, with the right opportunity, you can make money. I mean, you can become a millionaire overnight. But do you have the knowledge? Do you have the tools to help you manage money and to help you multiply money? Because that truly is wealth creation. And that's what we teach. We also develop tools, innovative tools that allow us to empower people across demography. So whether you are single, married, raising a family, divorced, grassroots level, you've not gone through formal education, our curriculum is built in such a way that we can address all this demography and teach them about finance. Okay, interestingly, I have an accounting background, and then I have a degree and master's in applied information technology. But so I had worked with a parent company, and then I went into other sectors. That's the part of wealth security. And when I was working there, I mean, I met prominent families in this country who in the 80s, 90s were at the very top of the ladder, billionaires. And then in the 2000s, their family, the money, you can't find the money. And I saw families being torn apart over inheritance, over money. I saw a lot of that, and it was shocking for me, because you would imagine that what would cause siblings to become mortal enemies. So that was one end of the journey. Then I went back to my parent company when they started the NGO part. And because they are in the financial space, for them, they provide information within the financial sector. So if you're looking at where to put your money, they give you real-time information on the capital market, how to multiply your money, so to say. So I already knew about multiplying money. I knew about safeguarding your money. But there was the challenge, the bridge of how to manage money. And not many NGOs are in that space, because money is not sexy, really. Everybody thinks they understand money. Everybody thinks, the average person, if you speak to the average Nigerian, they'll tell you, you can't teach me how to spend my money. Everybody thinks they know about money. So again, an average Nigerian is all about, as long as I'm not lazy, as long as I go out there and I'm trying to hustle to make money, I know money. But you don't know money, because there are principles that guide money. And that's just the truth. So, understanding that and then learning that, even because myself, I didn't know money. And when I got to this organization, I had to take a crash course on the principles of personal finance. And it was at that point I said to myself, you know what, this has to be a national advocacy. It has to be a national mantra. The government of the nation, they have to take this seriously if they are truly partners, in addressing no poverty and inequality in Nigeria. People cannot rise above. People will keep being poor unless they understand or they have the knowledge of financial literacy. It's as simple as that. It is the narrative that wealth is for a certain class of people. Nigerians are very elitist. I have discovered that. We try to act like we're not. We oppress ourselves, and that's the truth. And culture, religion plays a very prominent role in Nigeria. And again, people are not willing to unlearn bad habits, bad financial habits. That has been a challenge, because again, when people come to you and you can see that they're struggling, they have issues managing this, and you're trying to say, okay, you know what, let's just, try to work out, something for you that may work and fit, your situation. They're very reluctant. So yes, and then nobody really truly they don't look at the grassroots people. And the honest truth is, the grassroots people make up the larger part of the population. So unless you address that, Nigeria is not going forward. So I wish at the national level that they begin to take it seriously, and I wish that more people will come into the financial literacy space, because there are over 200 million people in Nigeria. So if you have less than 20 organizations talking financial literacy, we're still nowhere. So more people need to come into the space, and people need to be willing to learn and unlearn and then relearn, so that we can move forward. Okay, so that's a reality, and a lot of factors contribute to that. Women are natural caregivers. So there are less women with the right education. So let's just say that education is one barrier. Religion is also another barrier. Culture is also another barrier to women, being at par. Yes, we advocate for equality in the sense that, the right to life, right to living a good life should be for everyone, regardless of whether you're male or female. However, if a woman doesn't have the right education qualifications, that would deter her, you understand, from meeting that pay grade. Number two, women get pregnant. They take time off work and then they go have babies. Hormones come into play. You probably don't have, there is the natural cause of things, right? And yes, we want things to be better. But again, a business owner would argue with you that, listen, I'm running a business, not a charity. Yes, we're advocating that, certain things should for us to have balance. You need to bring equity, not necessarily equality, equity to the table. Equity in the sense that men and women in actual sense are not at par. That's the honest truth. A man has the liberty to work 2-4-7. In terms of physical strength, in terms of he's probably more educated, in terms of the fact that if I'm an employer, I will probably take a guy because I know that, okay, he probably won't really take a lot of leave days. He doesn't have to go for 3 months to say, oh, he's nursing a child. He doesn't have hormonal issues. There is a whole lot. some people even also argue that it's easier to manage a man, right? But we're saying that in all of this, men and women are not equal. Some countries in the world, in fact, even organizations, they're beginning to look at these factors and taking it into consideration. Now, this is where a good human capital development team, where they come into play to say, okay, these are real issues. But I mean, if a woman would take time off for 3 months, but she's willing to give overtime when she's at work, she's willing to deliver more, I mean, that should count. Do you understand? So yes, we want there to be we want a reduction in the pay grade gap, but I would also say that women have to upskill as well. Women can't rely on the fact that sentiments would come into play, because it won't always come into play. Women know that, I mean, in terms of how the world is, you have to be twice better. That's just the reality. You have to work harder if you want to be noticed. It's a man's world, whether you like it or not. If you want to be noticed, you have to work harder. You have to play smarter. You have to be more strategic. You can't rely on emotions. You can't rely on the fact that empathy would always come to play. And we also say to women who are in positions of leadership, they have a better understanding on the issues that women face every day. And we hope that they bring these issues to the fore and find a way to help bridge that gap. But again, we have discovered that a lot of women in leadership, they tend to forget these issues. So if they are not speaking about it, people are not hearing, and there are no solutions. Well, living the life that you want is very individualistic. As a parent, you may want the best for your child, but they need to want it for themselves. And they need to understand that I'm an advocate. I'm an ardent, unapologetic advocate of delayed gratification. A lot of people think that, okay, I'm out of school, bounce. I mean, progression. 1 + 1 is not always 2. Sometimes movement is not growth. Sometimes you stand in a place and you're moving forward. That's very key. And it's very important that young people, everybody understands that. So if you're just coming out of school, I mean, right from when you're in university, you need to start thinking the world has changed. There was a time when, I mean, all you needed to do was get a degree and you're almost set for life. Now, having a degree is not enough. You need to constantly think of how to upskill, how to set yourself above in the marketplace. Because, okay, let's imagine Nigeria. Do you know how many graduates universities churn out every year? How many organizations are in the country? How many people are employing? So if you're focused on the fact that, oh, I just want to go into the university system and then just come out and then I'm just going to see someone to employ me, that may not necessarily hold true. But if you push yourself to learn soft skills, the world is now such that soft skills is a big thing. It's a big industry. I mean, how many people studied mass comm, or how many people even did medicine and are practicing doctors? You'll be shocked to even know that, okay, someone who spent like 9 years in the university is, as a doctor, is now a skit maker. That's the reality of life. So again, I would say that push yourself beyond beyond what you're used to. Learn more. Go out of your way beyond, and don't go to school because, okay, they just expect me to have a degree. Go to school because you want to learn. Mingle with people that are probably smarter than you. Read. I mean, collaborate. That's, again, Nigerians are very all about, okay, so I have this adage. I say to people, everybody will not be a leader. But a leader is only as good as the followers they have. You can be an excellent follower and you become a nerve person, a nerve center in an organization. Because of you, an organization will thrive. So let us leave all that narrative of, be an entrepreneur. Everybody does not have that capacity. That's the truth. So you need to find what your own strengths are. Yes, people may push you and say, go and do business. If you don't have the capacity to do business, don't do business. Rather, go into an organization and learn to be a fantastic employee. If you're a fantastic employee, you will have value. As long as you have value, as long as you sell value, you would always have the capacity to earn. That's just the honest truth. So, but if you don't have value, if you go for an interview or someone is speaking to you and they can't even understand what you're saying in terms of, okay, example, I'm speaking to you, oh, I have a product, I'm not sure my product is doing well, and you're saying to me that you're a social media person, right? If you have value, off the top of your head, you should be able to give me processes and say, oh, you know that if you do this, or if you do XYZ, if you can, increase your visibility, you can increase your market share, you can immediately, even if I don't have the thought to want to employ, I immediately see your value and I'm looking to say, oh, if I can take that off my table and I can pay someone to do that service for me, why not if not? Okay, so on that, I really can't, I'm not sure that I can give a definitive answer to that, but I think that necessity is the mother of invention. If you're a single parent, you suddenly lose your job, you need to feed your kids, you'll be forced to be an entrepreneur. You will do anything to make sure that you provide for your kids. So some people stumble into entrepreneurship. Some people get into entrepreneurship because they like the adrenaline rush, the idea that they can speak to someone, convince someone, to do something, and the person will do it, whether to make a purchase or to, buy into their service, anything. And some people do it because they're naturally just very good at it, right? So regardless of how you find it, in fact, I think women now, in this economy, it's not sexy for you to be a stay-at-home. Well, in fact, you can be a stay-at-home mom, but it's not sexy for you to not earn. You must earn. So that means that I am advocating for entrepreneurship, especially with women, because I have come to realize that bad things happen. Bad things somehow finds us. And if you're not prepared for it, you will find you only have yourself to blame. So a woman has lost the right now to say, oh, my spouse or my partner died and I'm helpless. You can't. If it is pure water, if it is anything you find yourself to do, even if you can't, I have seen women who say, you know what, I don't have the funds to do it. But guess what they do? On WhatsApp, they will take someone else's product and they will sell that product. It's not their product. And then they go to that person and say, oh, I just send me this product. Or, do you understand? It's just being smart. And right about now, entrepreneurship is about one of the quickest ways for people to be able to meet their daily needs. I'm not sure there are many people who can survive solely on their salaries anymore. So you have people who take on side gigs, side hustles. That's entrepreneurship as well. But in doing entrepreneurship, whether you're born with it, whether you have a passion for it, whether you stumbled into it, there are rules for entrepreneurship. Because, at the end of the day, entrepreneurship should be about profit. There should be a reward for your labor. It's not just, oh, I'm just waking up and we're used to activity. But sometimes, activity is not necessarily growth. Okay, remember that at the beginning I spoke about managing, multiplying money, and there is a fundamental rule about personal finance, and that is understanding the 50-30-20 rule. The 50 rule is that you have the funds to cater to your needs, and then 30 goes to your wants, and then 20 goes to, your investment, or whatever. And in advocating for that, we say that you must have savings. So let me start from a woman who has a job, right? And you suddenly lose your job. So it is expected that you probably would have had savings, so, however little, right? So again, I am an advocate of, do not try to, sometimes some people want to start at the very top. But again, you need to, if you've never done business, you need to take it slow and then start from there. The second part is, if you don't have savings, you've never worked, and then you also want to do business, you have to have the goodwill and wherewithal to be able to borrow from friends and family. Now, in borrowing from friends and family, that's where the problem is, because a lot of people lack character. So if you do not have character, if you've not built yourself in a way that people can trust what you say, then funding may be a problem. It is almost impossible, well, except you're able to access grants and all that. But even with grants, they expect some level of proposal, some level of feasibility study for you to be able to show that, okay, if I go into this business, these are the financial projections, this is how I want to upscale and all that. But if you're starting at the very barest minimum, start slow. Regardless of how small the money, start slow and start with something that you know that you can quickly turn over, something that would not allow you make too much. You won't incur an overly expensive overhead. You understand? Because some people want to start business, they're starting slow, and then they want to go rent an apartment for their business, and then you're already thinking of rent, you're already thinking of utilities. It's not feasible. So start small. However you can get money. When you get money, when you borrow money from people, you must, as a matter of urgency, ensure that you have a payback plan. In fact, when you want to go and borrow money from anybody, as you're speaking to the person and you're saying, oh, borrow me 100,000, give the person your projections, your payback plan. Because even if the person is not going to collect the money, they see that sign of seriousness and they see that sign of commitment. And that's what a lot of people are lacking. If I'm a business person, everybody wants to account for their money. So you can't think that people will just dash you. Don't look at it that, oh, people will just dash you money. You need to be accountable for whatever anybody gives you. And that's the first rule to business. If you're accountable for every penny that comes, you're able to better manage it, because you know that your focus is not just revenue, is also profit, and you're looking to give back money. Now, for people in established business, you're looking to upscale. Part of what we say to the female entrepreneurs that we train is, you must quickly understand the difference between revenue and profit. For a lot of SMEs, they're focused on revenue. So you will find people who say, oh, I'm making sales of about 10 million a month. But in actual fact, are you truly making profits? That's the difference. Okay, so your revenue is the cost of goods sold, and that's just the total income that comes to you. However, your profit is your revenue minus your expenses. You must be able to itemize what your expenses are in the cost, over a period of time, what you have put into the business, deduct it from what you have made, and that becomes your profit. So I see no sense in someone who says, oh, I'm a baker from home. Example, I bake my cakes at home. And then you're just looking at, oh yes, per day I'm selling like 10 cakes and that's about 500,000. And you think you're making money. But have you factored in the utility from home? Yes, your husband or your spouse or anybody may not complain, or your parents, they may not complain. But if you're looking at entrepreneurship, it becomes your business to say, oh, okay, I baked for 4 hours. Now, in fact, everybody can know what the electricity tariff is. So you can within reason, say that, oh, I spent about 5,000 naira, within a 4-hour period, or I spent, so you're looking at your electricity, you're looking at your cost of carriage, you're looking at your ingredients, you're looking at your labor. One of the major things that entrepreneurs also do is they forget to pay themselves. So when you don't pay yourself, of course, you have not itemized correctly in financial terms your accurate overheads. And until you do that, you cannot categorically say that you are making profit from a business. And that's why businesses don't thrive. It's as if they are at a stalemate. Oh, I'm doing the same thing. I don't know if I'm making profit. Do you understand? Because they've not taken time. And it is also one of the reasons why women can't access funding with corporate organizations. Corporate organizations require you to do your due diligence. They won't give you money if they can't see your paperwork. They won't. They are not a charity organization. It's a business. They will only give you money when they see that, oh, for every kobo in your business, you have accounted for it. And they look at the projections. They are going to have people sit down and look at the projections. So if you come and say, I want to borrow 1 million, they're going to look at your business and say, can this person actually pay back our 1 million? Because don't forget, you're not paying back 1 million. You're paying back 1 million plus interest. There is inflation. They account for all of that because, again, they are giving you customers money. They are in the business to make money. So you need to justify that. That's why women would say, oh, we can't access funding. Do you understand? So women can't separate personal money from business money because women are natural caregivers. A woman would naturally quickly take care of her children or quickly take care of a dependent's needs before she remembers that, this is my business money. And that's where the problem is. So we are teaching to say that there must be clear distinction between your personal money and your business money. Okay, the first is they need to acquaint themselves with financial literacy. Financial education is very, very important because at the heart of financial education, everything else they need to know. Budgeting, investment, they will learn everything. And it's not enough to just say that I have a good product. There's so many products that are not selling. It's not necessarily because the people themselves are bad. Again, some people are not even making sales because their customer service is very poor. So I would say that for you to be a successful and sustainable SME owner right now, you need to be able to look at the whole value chain and ask yourself that, outside of my product, what else am I, giving to my customers? Do I understand how to manage money? Do I understand how to manage our overheads? Do I understand where to get the best bargains? Do I want to choose quality over quantity? Do I understand relationship management? Do I understand negotiation? These are basic skills that you need to have, regardless of how small the demography you're selling to. I see some people on Instagram, of course, that's like one of the major platforms for SMEs right now. And their products are fantastic, but they have a problem with delivery time. They have a problem with packaging. Nigerians are emotional buyers. So you need to also even understand the psychology of business to do business in Nigeria. If you want your business to be sustainable, you need to use innovation, you need to use technology, you need to use platforms, you need to network. Networking is so key. Nobody knows it all. From networking, you can collaborate. One other thing that we advise people is ensure that you keep your books in order. I can't even emphasize that enough. There is nothing like, I want to quickly borrow from my business. Borrow, but ensure that you write it down and you pay back your business. That's the only way to grow. Ensure that you do the right things. You do your annual tax returns. Sometimes you may not even have the funds because your business is still quite small. You may not have the funds to employ someone to do it, but you can collaborate. You can have barter services. All over social media, people are putting their businesses out there. You can write to someone and say, okay, you know what? I think we can create some kind of complimentary service. I can give you this if you can provide me with this. So always explore collaborations and partnerships. Women are fond of competing. The world has gone beyond competing. Now it is competing. You're collaborating, but you're competing in a good way. Find where you can have symbiotic partnerships and ride on that. When you have the opportunity, mentor people. Mentor people not to serve you, but mentor them. And don't mentor people and just talk about your successes. People can only learn from your failures. Be bold enough to say that, oh, you know what? I made XYZ mistakes when I started my business. I wish you won't make this. I will tell you a story of a lady who is one of the foremost small chops makers in Lagos. And when she wanted to start that business, she actually lost a job from the bank. She went for an event. She had this small chops. It was quite nice. And then she got talking with the person who came to cater for that event. And the guy just said to her, you know what? If you can come and see me on so date, I'm going to put you through everything. And the guy, it was more like a master class. The guy took her through everything and said, okay, now I have given you the rudiments of this business. Now you need to find yourself and put something that is unique to you into this business. And that's how she started her business. Over the years, a lot of people have worked with her. Women that I know who felt, okay, you know what, I'm just going to go start my own business as well. And they went, now my problem is not that they can't leave. Of course you can leave. But have you learned what you're supposed to learn? Again, women, let us be humble enough to learn. It's very key. Learn so that you can be better tomorrow. Every opportunity that you find yourself, if you have to pay to learn, please learn. Sometimes knowledge is not free. Knowledge is not something you get on a platter of gold. Yes, you can attend free webinars and all that, but sometimes the knowledge that you need to take the next step or to advance your business or to be strategic enough to make a better decision for yourself and your business, you need to pay to learn it. Please invest in yourself and invest in your business, and you will see yourself not just grow, because if you're not growing, your business cannot grow. It is what you have that you put into your business, the knowledge that you have that you put into your business. So as long as you afford yourself those resources, you surround yourself with people that can help you grow, you would see a phenomenal change in your business.